An analysis done of the Fortune 500 companies by an organization known as the Center for American Entrepreneurship found that there is some percentage, some portion of these Fortune 500 companies that are owned, operated, founded by immigrants or their children. And so what they found was that of the companies that made the list in 2017, 43% were founded by an immigrant or a child of an immigrant. The share of immigrant founders in the tech industry, though, is higher at 45%. So these 216 companies produced $5.3 trillion in global revenue and also employed 12.1 million workers worldwide last year. So these are people that you might have been told by some politicians aren't the best, they're causing problems, they're taking jobs away from you, when in reality, they're actually doing some pretty great things for the economy and they are job creators. One other pretty amazing statistic that sparked an interest with me, I hope you guys find it interesting. Though accounting for less than 14% of the population, immigrants found almost a quarter of all new businesses, nearly 1/3 of venture-backed companies, and half of Silicon Valley high-tech startups.
By the way, including this one. I'm an immigrant and so did TYT, and we're employing about 100 people here. So seems like we might have helped the economy a little bit. Now let's talk about people who've helped it far more. So I want to give you some specific examples of immigrants that have set up some of these companies. Some are from a long time ago, from more than a century ago, but they were also immigrants. They were European arrivals that helped form a little company named PepsiCo. I think you might be familiar with their products.
No, Cenk, but they're white, so that doesn't count.
Okay.
They're cool. They're cool no matter what.
And DuPont and Colgate, etc. Now, there's some recent immigrants that are also white and from different parts of Europe. One of Netflix founders is Mark Randolph, and he is the son of an Austrian immigrant. So thrilled that we let him into the country and his parents into the country. Sol Baer is a German immigrant who helped start the biotech firm Celgene, which is doing apparently very well. And then some that you might be more familiar with. There was a Russian guy. Oh my God, they let the Russians in, okay? And something related to do with the internet. Oh no, watch out. His name is Sergey Brin. He was Russian born and he founded a little company named Google, along with Larry Page, of course. And then another tiny company, actually by some rankings, the #1 company in the world, Apple, founded by Steve Jobs, who was the son, well, I mean, all of these guys have been kind of white, Russian still.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Jobs, he looks white. I'm sure it's a white immigrant. See, we're not losing anything by banning the Muslim countries, first of all. Oh no, I'm sorry, he's the son of a Syrian immigrant. And yes, Donald Trump specifically talked about keeping people out from Syria. Well, if you had done that in the past, we'd have never had Apple here. Oops.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of interesting to especially look at the tech industry and some of the innovation coming out of Silicon Valley and how that innovation tends, not all of it, but tends to come from immigrants. And Steve Bannon doesn't like that. I remember, in a radio interview with Donald Trump, Trump said something positive about immigrants contributing to innovation, in Silicon Valley specifically. Bannon wasn't buying it. And so think about that. His hatred for anyone who's non-white runs so deep that he's willing to pass policy or push for policies that are counterproductive for the US economy. That's how deep that hate is.
His racism is so deep, it even involves rich people. Where Trump draws the line. If you're rich and you're willing to work with me and funnel money to me, then I don't really care where you're from. Everyone else I'm gonna ban, right? But Steve Bannon in that interview talked about how Indian and Asian CEOs were taking over Silicon Valley.
They're creating jobs though.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I literally don't know what's wrong with that. It's actually not true. The CEOs, he said, are like 3/4 or 2/3 of the CEOs are Asian or Indian. It's actually about 1/4 of the CEOs, not the founders, right? But even if it were true, and I mean, other than you being bitter about it, I don't see what the issue is. The only reason that you would see an issue, even Trump, like you said, Bannon is doing the interview and Trump is getting interviewed on Bannon's program on Sirius at the time. Even Trump's like, yeah, but they're CEOs, that's good, right? And Bannon's like, no, they don't share our culture. In other words, I'm deeply racist and bitter towards people who are more successful than I am. If you like this video, bless your heart. We got a lot more where that came from. We do a full show every day, Monday through Friday. Come enjoy it ad-free by becoming a member, tytnetwork.com/join.